my name is Laura Belch, and this is my final presentation for the Pathway class on the Synoptic Gospels, the life of Jesus. As Christians, we start with a default trust, but how do we explain that to a secular audience? The Gospels is a good start, but can we really trust the Gospels? We have good reason to believe the Gospels to be historically reliable accounts. We can still unearth evidence to support their very point over 2,000 years later. That means we can still test them. They report real events and real teachings of Jesus, and that gives us a genuine way to meet Jesus. Why are there 4 Gospels, and why are 3 of them considered synoptic? Having separate accounts of ancient Christian biographers actually provides more evidence and inspired perspectives than we would get from one single account. Eyewitnesses will not observe and recount all the same details. The Gospels were written in living memory of oral historians use living memory to refer to the period when people knew the original witnesses and that they might still be alive. And after this, legends are more likely to arise. The overlap does show their dependence on and respect for their sources. The Gospels can also contain earlier language on information simply because that is the way they knew the story. One example is Jesus referring to himself with the favorite title of Son of Man. And this is a Semitic form of speech, and it can make no sense in the Greek or the English. But when we read Matthew, Mark, or Luke, we see that all of them have the same basic story. Mark is believed to have been written first. Mark, who was a companion of Peter, wrote down the stories he heard firsthand from Peter. Mark's dependence on Peter would explain why Matthew and Luke treated Mark's gospel as an important source. John's gospel would depend less on Mark because John shared a similar relationship with Jesus, just like Peter. But how can we break down the key differences in the themes of these Gospels? Of course, Matthew was written on 30 to 40 years of oral tradition, has a lot of Old Testament quotations, gives the messianic line from David, shows Jesus as a new Moses, and shows Jesus as God with us. And it also shows the people who accept Jesus were the unreligious and considered unimportant. Mark, now, he collects Peter's eyewitness account, and he hopes to influence you by showing Jesus and people's reaction to him. The major questions are, who is Jesus, and what being the Messiah means, and how he becomes king. Now we go to Luke. Luke traveled with Paul, shows in his gospel how prophecy was fulfilled. He consults eyewitnesses to show how the story of Jesus fulfills the story of God, of Israel, and the world. Now John himself was an eyewitness and a disciple. He wrote his gospel so that people would believe Jesus was the Messiah. And he also gives us the 7 I ams of Jesus, and then he gives us 7 signs and miracles that Jesus performed. He says that Jesus says he is the bread of life, the light of the world, the gate for the sheep, the good shepherd, the resurrection, the way, the truth, and the life, and the true vine. And he also keys in on 7 signs that Jesus did, or 7 miracles. He turned water into wine, healing a sick boy, healing a paralyzed man, feeding the 5,000, healing a blind man, raising Lazarus, and then Jesus' resurrection himself. As Christians, we find strong reason to affirm the reliability of the Gospels, and they were written within living memory of Jesus' public ministry. Their overlap shows each author intended to give information to confirm Jesus' identity and preserve the accounts that supported it. Yes, there are differences, But as I stated earlier, eyewitnesses are not going to observe the same things. They're going to give you a different perspective on any situation that they're in. But they all describe the same Jesus.